The world is slipping into a state of chaos. People and nations are on the brink of war and are desperate to find a path to peace. There are worries about a global financial crisis, immigration, intolerance, exploitation, and extremism. All of this has led to a climate of uncertainty and a worry of catastrophic consequences. Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, has been paving the path to peace by expounding on the root causes of injustice, the potential dangers of ignoring them, and providing solutions to contemporary issues. On a number of occasions, he has taken the opportunity to warn world and religious leaders, senior politicians and journalists of their responsibilities regarding these matters. Hazrat Amirul Mu'mineen Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Nasrihil Aziz has spoken to the UK Parliament detailing the peaceful teachings of Islam. Hazur has written letters to senior world figures warning them of the dire consequences of their decisions and outlined steps necessary to establish world peace. This included letters to Barack Obama, President Ahmadinejad of Iran, Chancellor Merkel of Germany, Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, David Cameron, Prime Minister of the UK, Wen Jiabao, Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China, and King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia. A letter was also hand-delivered to the Pope. In June 2012, a historic event took place at Capitol Hill where Hazur addressed leading congressmen, senators, ambassadors, White House and State Department staff, NGO leaders, policy advisors and journalists. It was the first meeting of its kind in America, where some of the most influential leaders of the US got to hear firsthand Islam's message on world peace. On the 19th of November 2012, Boris Johnson, Mayor of London, welcomed Hazur to City Hall. During the meeting, Hazur and the Mayor discussed various issues, including the establishment of world peace and the true teachings of Islam. In December 2012, Hazur spoke at the EU Parliament in Brussels. The European Parliament is the directly elected parliamentary institution of the European Union. It works alongside the Council of the European Union and the European Commission and exercises the legislative function of the EU, making it one of the world's most powerful legislators. The EU Parliament is composed of 754 members. This makes it the second largest democratic electorate in the world after the Parliament of India and the largest transnational democratic electorate. Hazur's visit to the EU Parliament commenced with a series of meetings with MEPs on Monday the 3rd of December. First to meet Hazur was Marina Yannakoudakis. Marina was elected as a member of the European Parliament for London in June 2009. She is currently the Conservative spokeswoman on women's rights and gender equality in the European Parliament. She is also a full member of the Parliament's Environment and Public Health Committee. Then Hazur met with Tune Kelam, an MEP from Estonia. Mr. Kelam was the last chairman of the Conservative Estonian National Independence Party. He is also a board member of the Human Rights Institute. Kelam is a founding signatory of the Prague Declaration on European Conscience and Communism and is one of the initiators of the European Parliament's resolution on European conscience and totalitarianism. Lastly, Hazur met with Charles Tannock. Dr. Tannock is an MEP for London and is Foreign Affairs and Human Rights spokesman for the UK Conservative delegation. He is currently a full member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, where he is also the European Conservatives and Reformist Group coordinator. He is also a full member of the Human Rights Subcommittee.
He's a very peaceful man and he makes people feel very comfortable and at ease. His approach is perfect. It's very peaceful, it's very loving. He's a very serene person. When you're with him, you feel this peace. And I think when people meet him and he talks about his message, that we will understand that communities that are different, and we have many communities in London where I'm from that are very different, that they can be together and that they have much to learn from each other and share.
The same evening, Huzur graced a dinner reception held in his honor at the Parliament, where people had the opportunity to meet Huzur in a relaxed atmosphere.
The Ahmadis to declare themselves not Ahmadi Muslims, but recategorise themselves in order to vote is iniquitous and inequitable. And as His Holiness said, if you're a citizen, you should have the vote. It shouldn't be anything to do with religion. If you're a citizen, you should have the vote. And that is what I've been saying. I also brought it up in the meeting, the human rights opinion last week. So this is something that I've not just raised once, I've raised on many, many occasions.
I don't know of any other religious leader who has managed to not only speak in Capitol Hill, Westminster, now the European Parliament. That's how historic it is. I mean, in 1 year or so, this spiritual leader, the Khalifa al-Khamis, the Al-Tunis disease, has, but only by the grace of Allah, he's addressing all the world leaders, the European leaders, he's addressing all the politicians. So, I mean, you can't convey a message like that as he has done. It's amazing. It is historic.
On Tuesday the 4th of December 2012, Huzur met with more MEPs, including Jean Lambert and Phil Benyon. Jean is a Green Party member of the European Parliament. She is on the delegation for relations with South Asia. The delegation covers 6 countries, including Pakistan. The purpose of the delegation is to ensure that pressing issues are discussed, particularly with a view to improving relations with the EU. Phil Benyon is an MEP and a member of the Liberal Democrats International Relations Committee since 2007. He is currently a member of the Governing Council of the European Liberal Democrat and Reform Group. He is also chair of Liberal Democrat European Group. Huzur also met with a delegation of MPs, professors and a mayor from Spain. A human rights lawyer from Ireland also had the opportunity to meet with Huzur. Huzur also met with a delegation from Norway, which included Anne Skurshammer, an MP from the Christian Democratic Party, and Bill Taranger, the provincial secretary of the Norwegian Christian Democratic Party. Huzur also met with Ingrid Norstein of Norway.
It is very good to meet a leading person and see the influence he has all over the world, and also his passion for peace and religious freedom is very good. And he was so well prepared, so he knows a lot about Norway and our hometown.
I think your leader, the Khalifa, is quite peaceful, and the talk and the whole community, is about peace. And I think it represents very, the core of the Islamic religion, and I think it will help to be aware of this community and the interpretation they make about the religion and the Quran. That I think is more, is closer to what the Quran says, and they practice this peaceful living. So I think it's very important.
Well, I have to say, I'm very impressed by the openness of the message. I am extremely admirative and in support of this community, which is, for me, a real example of tolerance, peace, and an attempt to build a much better mutual understanding between communities.
After this, Huzur led the Zohar and Asr prayers within the Parliament. This was followed by a brief meeting with members of other faiths. In the afternoon, Huzur answered questions from a range of media outlets during a 40-minute press conference in the press room of the European Parliament. A number of global media organizations, including from the UK, Spain, France, Belgium and Pakistan, attended.
As I deal every day with people who have the opinion of Muslims do this, Muslims are, the Quran is inherently violent, that, they don't want to integrate, and all, really negative things. And to hear and they don't speak out about extremism, that's a big thing. And to just come today and hear something completely different, you know, with the head of the community being like, all we want is peace, we actually believe it can happen. We've got a plan of how we can see the future and it can actually change things. I think it's really inspiring, and I wanted to go home and write a piece about it basically and just be like, hey, it's not all bad. You know, I don't understand how there's so much media haven't picked up on this. I mean, we did one story with the BBC about the Youth Association's Poppy Appeal, and like, got so much good feedback from the community, but no one else really. They were like, oh, what is, you know, who are these people? And I just think that for all the charity work, I think it's charity work you do, kind of fundraising, getting involved with the Jubilee, like that went unnoticed, and I think that needs to be brought out.
This is brilliant. When you've been here, and you will see, yesterday I see just for 2 minutes the Caliph, and you can feel the energy of peace when he pass through my person. So I think, in my opinion, this human being is brilliant. It's a gift from God.
Later the same afternoon, Hazul's keynote address at the European Parliament was delivered to a packed audience of more than 350 guests, representing 30 countries. The event was hosted by the newly launched European Parliament Friends of Ahmadiyya Muslims group, whose chair and vice chairs all took to the stage to welcome Hazul. Before the keynote address, a number of MEPs took to the stage and spoke of their admiration of peaceful Islam as advocated by the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat.
I think this is a special time, as His Holiness has pointed out on numerous occasions. Conflicts are spreading in the world, and conflicts are generated by difference of opinions, by injustice, and first of all by not turning enough attention to our counterparts, because we are bound to be united in one belief in God. And every big religion teaches us that you should first honor God and then respect your neighbor. Your role will be very important, not only as an ideology, but in practice, to bring people, different religions and beliefs together, and to help us discover that, after all, we are all brothers and sisters and children of one God. It is our good opportunity today to stress this message. And I'm happy that members of the European Parliament could contribute to this. It is a message about solidarity, which the European Parliament is spreading, and I hope that today, from today on, this message will be heard louder and stronger than ever.
It is so timely and so appropriate to have this conference on the theme of responding to the challenge of extremism, and especially, of course, in the European Parliament, because the whole message and purpose of this institution as one of the main institutions of the European Union is to create unity in diversity, given the tragic history, especially in the 20th century of Europe, when extremism and hatred led to death and murder. We never forget that, and what we have built and continue to build in the European Union is built on values of freedom, respect for diversity, and human rights, including, of course, very important ones of freedom of speech and freedom of religion.
Coming here today illustrates the thirst for knowledge of religious communities around the world, but the Ahmadiyya community needs to be understood more